There's something quite appealing about disaster or cataclysmic events, whether narrated, filmed, or released as a game. The latter has seen its fair share of survival games, which may blend a mixture of genres in order to set the player into bleak scenarios. Being outnumbered by ghouls will require the player to use their tenacity, resourcefulness, and imagination. Dysmantle is no different. Developer 10 Tons has graced the Nintendo Switch with their own survival open world RPG, and we will see if it's worth picking up. A big thanks to the developer for the review copy, and if you want to see any more reviews that we do on this channel, please subscribe, like, and all that jazz. And now, let's rock and roll. After a long time surviving in an underground shelter, the protagonist decides to leave and venture into the brave new world. Greeted by the remnants of a society overrun in foliage and chaos, he has little knowledge of what's caused all of this. Only one thing is certain: he must survive long enough to escape the island. Although the story may lack originality, its pacing and implementation will aid in delivering to the player a great sense of loneliness and wonder as he slowly learns what brought the apocalypse to the quaint and expansive island. Those who have played similar games such as How to Survive or State of Decay on the Xbox console will understand the mechanics well. The aim in this case is to destroy everything you can in order to gather materials needed to create and upgrade equipment, weapons and trinkets that will aid you in escaping the island. Virtually everything can be broken down when using the right tools, and in true role-playing game tradition, with each level increase, the survivor will gain new abilities and blueprints. This constant loop of gather, build, repeat is far more enjoyable than it sounds, especially when collecting the materials needed to upgrade weapons that will pulverize props in the environment and enemies alike. I did find it slightly annoying when the character auto-collected materials like the plant matter, which is abundant and takes up space in your bag. The developers, however, remedied this by allowing the player to toggle the auto-collect feature, making the gathering aspect of the game a lot more streamlined and bearable. The game also allows you to track materials needed to upgrade your items, which also benefits the inventory management aspect of the game. The game also offers a variety of quests and activities that can be carried out at your own pace. I spent a good hour after emerging from the underground shelter gathering and exploring until I managed to carry out my very first quest. These quests range from killing ex-humans within a time limit or carry out a cool treasure hunt. All of these will reward the character with experience points, blueprints, and in-game achievements as described earlier. This survival role-playing game takes place on a massive sandbox island, which is home to many dangerous mutations and wildlife. The fog of war will impede the player from checking out the map, but there are some radio messages that describe what's available within specific coordinates on the map. There are radio towers that will help expand the visibility of the map, as well as becoming fast travel points. These can also be upgraded to assist you with other benefits, which I will refrain from spoiling too much. Combat is simple to grasp and enjoyable. Enemies come in all shapes and sizes, spitting toxic ooze and swiping with their scythe-like claws. Bear in mind that these enemies will respawn when you take a rest at a campfire. These aforementioned campfires act much like the ones you encounter in a game like Dark Souls and allow the character to just sit back, relax, build stuff, or select new abilities after leveling up. There's also a large box where you can store all the materials collected. Although not a hard game, your untimely and self-inflicted death will dispose of all the materials collected and return you to the nearest campfire. This will also respawn killed enemies, as mentioned before, but will allow you to return to your previously deceased body and recover your collected materials. Bearing in mind, however, that if you die whilst attempting to collect your dropped loot, they will disappear for good. There is no urgency here. in terms of time-sensitive mechanics such as hunger or thirst, which in many ways help make this an accessible experience. You can farm, go hunting, fishing, or even cook, making the gameplay slightly more varied. The controls are also catered for a simple and comfortable experience. You will swing your weapon with the X button a lot, but rather than having to repeatedly tap the button, a simple hold down will help carry the task out. During combat, however, holding the X button will allow the player to charge up attacks, so it somewhat changes to fit the context of the action. Another cool feature is the ability to touch the map on screen whilst in handheld mode in order to interact with it. There are very few things to criticize about the gameplay, to be completely honest. I find this game really fun and rewarding and can also be enjoyed with another player via couch co-op. If, however, I had to point out any observations, they would include the lack of online co-op or the possibility of adding maybe some harder difficulty mechanics such as hunger or thirst. This is a game where I see myself sinking vast amounts of hours finding everything it has to offer. The developers have also announced free download content on its way, possibly extending the gameplay. This is a brilliant addition to my collection and possibly yours. Although most of the audio will be composed of atmospheric woodland sounds such as birds chirping or the wind blowing through the trees, the soundtrack has brilliant songs, particularly Safe Trips featuring Stephen Ellis by OTE and This Is the End of the World by Koma Svensson. The animals and enemies also add to the audio with their screams and howls, as one would expect, and the breakdown of metallic and wooden props make a satisfying sound when hit, although some may find it annoying and repetitive. The campsite music is relaxing and some of the cutscenes are accompanied with a suspense-filled tune. Although a lot of the audio may seem lacking some bombastic songs whilst traversing the island, what is available is of a high standard. Another thing to bear in mind is that having ambience instead of music adds to the atmosphere of isolation and imminent danger. The game's presentation is decent, with lush biomes and cool still images seen during loading screens. The top-down viewpoint does the job, and it is easy to spot the cartoon-style character models and the environment. I did enjoy the enemy designs, and the animations of the wildlife are pretty smooth too. Some of the text size is small but legible, and the developers have taken a lot of time to cater with accessibility features like colorblind mode, or even by adding different filters. The game can be played with different settings switched on, such as dynamic shadows, amongst others. I did really enjoy how the game looked when this feature was active, but I did notice a few frame rate drops. These did not deter from the immersion the game delivers, but it was slightly noticeable. Another thing that could have possibly benefited the game is the camera zoom function. The right stick allows for the camera to rotate around the character and even place it directly on top, but it cannot be zoomed in or out manually, and the only way to remedy this is by going into the settings and manually tweaking the camera distance that suits you. Not a major issue, but an odd one nonetheless, seeing as similar games allowed for full control of the camera via the right stick. Assets such as the materials that need collecting appear on screen as nice flat images that float on the floor, making them easier to detect and tell apart. There's also a collection section in the pause menu which allows the player to keep track of all the medals, points of interest and enemy models that have been encountered so far. Again, the developers have kept it nice and simple as far as the visuals are concerned, although these small features act as a nice record of what has been discovered. I would personally love to see concept artwork that could possibly be unlocked when achieving certain hidden goals. Visuals tend to be the main factor that will attract or repel players towards the game. I was truly impressed with the amount of decent design found here. Font size can be minuscule at times, the frame rate can fluctuate, and the camera controls need to be streamlined without the need to go in and out of the settings. The most important aspect here is that I didn't experience any crashes or major issues during my time playing, which could have really impacted the experience, and in today's age, that is a godsend. These are really minor issues that can easily be remedied with an update or two, and I am truly impressed at the immersive and detailed world that the developers have managed to create. Right, so this is the part where I tell you what I think. I have been craving to play something akin to The Survivalist or State of Decay for the longest time, and the Finnish developer has created something truly epic here. At only £17.99 or your original equivalent and taking up to a mere 1.1 gigabytes, it is hard as a fan of the genre not to recommend it, especially when you consider how long you could spend playing this alone or with a friend via couch co-op. Add to that the great soundtrack and the fact that DLC is on its way, expanding on an already huge map, this could become a hidden gem. Honestly, there are a few issues here and there, mainly the lack of online co-op, for example, if I had to focus on one of them, but I have honestly been glued to the game ever since I received the review code, and I've enjoyed every second of it. Should the Nintendo Switch not be your console of choice, the game is also available on a myriad of other platforms, but I find that the portability and the touchscreen features added to this version of the game really enhance the overall gameplay. I will be eager to see what else the developer Tentan does with this game, and I suggest you join their Discord via their official Dysmantle website so you don't miss a thing. The apocalypse was never so sweet. 8 out of 10. Thank you so much for watching, everyone. If you're still around, please let me know what you think in the comment section down below. Are you thinking of picking this up? Are you eager to actually grab it? Have you played it before? Is there anything else you want to see from this channel in terms of reviews? I've got a few lined up. Although I mainly carry out reviews for Switch Up, I will be hopefully carrying out more on this channel myself. And as always, if you need any controllers or other accessories, check out Nixie, use our affiliate link in the description down below and use coupon code Greeny for $8 off. So yeah, subscribe, like, all that jazz, and hopefully we'll see you soon. Peace.